Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Five of Swords. I'm seeing Ace of Swords wanting to come out. Okay. So we're starting off with Five of Swords, which I see in general the card that we start off with as sort of setting the tone for the rest of the reading. Five of Swords is a card that, like in the traditional tarot, what Five of Swords is connected with is somebody that there's sort of like this game that's going on, and this person like does something in order to win the game and doesn't really make it about being a game anymore. It's sort of like I'm gonna win and you're gonna lose, like that type of thing. So rather than it being like a thing that we're all participating, it becomes very like me versus them, or it becomes very divided. So one can be in that position of like, I'm looking out for myself here, I want to make sure that I'm on top, like that type of thing, but can be to the point where it like lacks a sense of community. Even see how the person on this picture, like I imagine this one being the one that's in the Five of Swords, and how they're like on the stilts here, and then there are other people there, but sort of trying to like elevate oneself to be on a different level, but it's usually in some type of unkosher way that one's doing this. A place of self-concern, but also can be like forgetting others along the way, being in that position of like, I'm just looking out for me, I'm just taking care of myself. So one is in a position where like that, because of creating that divide, it makes one less receptive to those around them, to others around them, which is interesting because I'm seeing Knight of Swords, which looks like if you are the one that's in this position, and just know that maybe you're not, maybe you're this person and somebody else is in this position, but what this means is that if you're coming through to talk to somebody and they're in that spot, they may not be receptive to you regardless of what you have to say. If you're in this position and somebody is coming through to speak with you, it's going to be like one or the other here. If you're in this position and somebody's coming through to say something to you, regardless of what they're saying, you may not be receptive to what they're communicating with you. But that's not to say that what they're coming through and saying isn't valuable to you. You just may be in a position that's not receptive to that, to what's being communicated with you. So this can even potentially be something like helpful or something that's supposed to be coming in at this time, but because of being in this spot where there can be like this sort of cut off from everything else, because this is a very like Five of Swords is a very 3D card to me, where it's very ego driven of like, this is me and that's you, and there's a separating line here, rather than there being like a union between everything, and you see like others around you as sort of like an extension of yourself and love and the universe, like those sorts of things. This is a card of feeling like I'm isolated. I have isolated myself. So when something comes through, you being in that sort of mode of looking at whatever this is and being like, that's other to me. So you may not be feeling receptive to that because you're not identifying with it, because of being identified with something that's like other than. So having Knight of Swords come through and having the Fool be behind it, I feel like there's some sort of backwards trajectory here that's happening, because with the Fool, it's a card of exploration, and then this card over here is communicating and wanting to have conversation and like can be doing things quickly. All of these are air cards, and then ending up in a position where one sort of feels isolated and cut off, except this is the first card and this is the second card, and this is the third card. So this almost feels like potentially an undoing that's happening. So Five of Swords can be, I'm not feeling receptive to anything else because I'm in that position of like me versus everything outside of myself. I'm not feeling like at union with the universe, with the cosmic energies. I'm feeling like I'm feeling separate. The news comes through, or information comes through, or insight comes through, conversation comes through. It's going to be like information coming your way. And to have the Fool there, like, one needs to be open in order to be receptive. And somebody can even be taking a chance communicating with you. That doesn't have to be the only intention here, but it can be information. So Five of Swords can be this very guarded position that you find yourself within. Having Knight of Swords, this can be like your guides coming through and communicating something with you. And having the Fool here, this is something where you're going to have to be open to this. But being in the Five of Swords energy, that's not being open to what this is. It's kind of like if I don't generate it myself, I'm not going to be open to it, like that type of thing, because of feeling guarded and like suspicious, and because of creating that divide of like me versus everything else. It means that like everything else sort of becomes enemy in a way. So there can be something that's really helpful that's coming through, but being in a closed off position of I'm not going to take anything else, which ends up also disconnecting you from those parts of yourself as a defense mechanism. Like, we don't do that just for fun. We're not in that position. It's because of feeling like I need to protect myself. Like, I'm not going to be okay if I don't protect myself, or if I'm not looking over my shoulder and looking out for myself. And then because of wearing that armor, it is something that doesn't allow certain things in that are meant to be coming in. It's like using this black and white. I feel like discernment is not the right word, but it's sort of like a black and white filtration system. And so something can be coming in and it can be misinterpreted as that's not something that I'm supposed to be allowing into the barrier, when actually this is something that may potentially be quite helpful to you and can also like get you out of this position that you're in to be more connected and receptive. Part of the reason why you may also feel not super open to this is if the Fool is here, the Fool is something that requires you to be open enough to take a chance with something. So you may have to do things in a different way, do things in a new way, get outside of your comfort zone, take a chance with something. And if you're in a mode where it's like, I'm not taking any chances here, you're not going to be receptive to this. I feel so far like what's being highlighted is that if you are in a place where you're not open-minded, there's nothing that's going to be able to come through and be helpful. Oh, this can also be conflict too that you're having with somebody. That's another thing. Okay. Six of Swords and Seven of Cups. Six of Swords can mean, I see this being connected with Five of Swords. This can mean that there's an understanding of the Five of Swords energy, and you can be moving on from that now. Like, I'm recognizing this, I'm moving forward now. Six of Swords is meant to be a sort of decline after some type of drama happening. So Five of Swords is that sense of conflict. I'm wrapping my head around something, I'm figuring it out, I'm processing, I'm being open to this so it can be something that's being integrated here. And then Six of Swords is going to be like a moving forward, like I'm not stuck within this anymore. Because Five of Swords is a stagnant energy until that gets worked out. It's kind of like a gridlock, like a square aspect. So once that gets worked out, once that is being worked out, there is the moving forward. I get the sense though with Five of Swords, Knight of Swords, and the Fool, it feels like there's a very pure aspect of your energy that's coming to meet you, and you may be in a very like hardened, closed off space, and it's telling you to like open your mind, just to get open in general, to sort of like climb back down that ladder that you've put yourself on that sort of separates you from everything else. So this is something that's going to bring you back to a place. And even when you see the transition of these cards, with this one, you see how it's like really dark around this, and that can be a lot of heavy, dense energy that one is having a hard time sort of moving within. And then when you get over here to this, with this card, you see it being blue. It's like very clear and free and like a pure energy. And you see like a lot of movement. Over here, it's sort of like having to balance upon this thing that's difficult to balance upon, not having a lot of room to wiggle around because of being so rigid in that place mentally. This is all a mental thing. We have all swords here. And this is going to be sort of the understanding and the moves that are being made in order for one to be sort of released from that position. And then when you look over here on this card, you see this person have movement, and you see like the flexibility of this, where there's not really those constraints anymore of what was going on here. Because this is like something where you have to balance on these thoughts that you've created and sort of stepped upon, and then you can't really, you're gonna have to climb down. This feels like the liberation from that, where there's so much more leg room to move around, but all mentally again. Then we have Six of Swords, which is another sword card. The first 4 cards out are sword cards. And this card is about from where you were before, moving forward now. Like you're not stuck in this position anymore. You're able to move forward. 5 of Swords is like you feel that sense of threat or like enemy of anything around you. Anything that is like not you or not what you're identified with, like becomes the enemy in this very black and white way. Even like other people's ideas or like insights that you could get. It's sort of that like do I need to be weary of that? Like this sort of thing, but to the point where it gets you really stuck, where it can feel like a battle is going on. And 5 of Swords can be that I'm gonna sort of hide under this rock because that's the thing that's keeping me safe, but also you're not moving then. And sometimes when we're overwhelmed and there's so much to process, like that's just the best that we can do. But this feels like a time where you're able to break out of that. You don't have to be in that position anymore. So 6 of Swords is going to be you moving forward, like you're releasing yourself. You're not under that rock anymore. You're not on those stilts anymore. So you can actually get some flow. You can get some movement now. But having the Fool there before it feels like there's going to be inspiration that comes through, or there's going to be a different way or like mode of thinking that happens. Where are you going though? That feels like an unknown thing right now, because this card about movement, when it comes to like where you're actually going to, so you're in transition now, but like where are you going? This is a card of I don't know that. I haven't figured that out. I know that I'm going somewhere. I know that I'm moving, but I don't know where exactly that is. It's sort of like you get in the ship and you go on the water and you don't really have a map right now. You just know that you're on the water and that something's gonna have to work out, but you don't know what exactly is going on. Yeah. It's like taking a drive, but you don't have the direction, so you're sort of just like taking turns and going whatever speed you feel at the moment you're like meant to be doing, but without very clear direction. So you can feel like you're lacking a sense of clear direction. You can know that I'm not stuck in that position anymore. I'm not stuck in that place anymore. I have been working through this conflict and I am moving forward. At the same time, I don't know where I'm going. And that can be something that's throwing you off right now. Or it can be something where you're like, I don't know where I'm going. And there's less of an agenda there to have to try to fit within. I do see a lot of different paths that are unfolding. To have 7 of Cups and to have Page of Wands are like, let's say 7 different paths that open up before you. And any of those ones could be something that you'd be interested in and something that you would want to, a direction that you would want to go. But Seven of Cups is still that I'm figuring out which of these I'm going to choose. So this is a path, and there are so many more. So basically, like you're moving forward, you're in a vehicle or you're in the plane, however it is that you're transporting yourself here, you're moving, and then all of a sudden you get to a spot where the road of one turns into a road of many, and you have to pick like where are you going to go now out of all of the options that you have to move in the direction of. Page of Wands is a card of excitement, it's a card of purpose, it's a card of calling. And so if you feel like there's any path in particular that's speaking to you more loudly than the others, that may be the deciding factor of what you end up doing and where you end up going. And then having the Ten of Cups is you are going to be feeling most content, most fulfilled, choosing a path based off of that. And maybe Seven of Cups too is figuring out what mechanism am I going to use to make this decision. If I have a bunch of different options in front of me, what will be the thing that influences the choice that I make? Page of Wands says choose inspiration, choose excitement, choose interest. Choose anything that you would pick that path and be like, this is something fun for me to do, where you can really feel engaged wholeheartedly. And then the Ten of Cups is going to follow. So you feeling very happy with what you're doing. Something just based off of your heart saying, I'm telling you I want to move this way, and then you moving in that direction. This does feel like a big tuning in that's happening here. I'm seeing Three of Wands and I'm seeing Eight of Wands. Three of Wands is a card of progress. It's a card of planning. It's a card of effort. You wielding the energy and directing it and guiding it and fusing it sort of with your intention and your willpower. It feels almost like a molding that's happening. And Eight of Wands is about moving quickly. It's about the direction that we're going in, forward movement. So there is a lot of, having both Six of Swords and Eight of Wands in the spread, it does feel like there's a lot of forward moving momentum here. Yeah, Five of Swords and Three of Wands, there could have been some type of, there could have been doubts, and there could have been a conflict that you were working out mentally that had to do with like future and where you're going and what's happening, and wanting to get insight specifically about that. But at the same time, you could have been feeling like really closed off. You could have been also too, Five of Swords can feel like I'm not feeling particularly supported right now, you know? Like I feel like my guides aren't giving me a strong sense of direction. Like I'm not feeling super connected currently. Can be that type of thing. And then you feel closed off because of it, because you're like, okay, like nobody from my team is showing up for me here. I just got to figure this out myself. And I'm trying to figure out things about the future, and this is difficult, and it would be really nice to have a sense of community or a sense of guidance or a sense of support right now. But it could really be with Five of Swords, you feeling in a position of lacking exactly that thing that you seek. I wonder too if Knight of Swords is going to be, I don't know how this information is going to come your way, but something is definitely coming your way. You just have to be open to it, and it may be, if you're in a position where you feel like, for example, your guides aren't communicating with you as much, like, you know, sometimes you can feel I'm so in tune and I'm so in touch, and it just feel in a flow state with everything, with how I'm moving and the guidance that I'm getting, and so it feels very automatic. Five of Swords is feeling like I'm a step away from that, so I'm not feeling particularly in a flow state. I'm feeling stuck here, and I'm trying to figure something out. I'm trying to work something out. I feel like I'm not necessarily getting the type of help that I need or support that I need. So when you're in that position, feeling weary of things because of feeling like now I'm just on my own having to figure this out, Knight of Swords is going to come through. So something is going to come through that is going to clarify direction for you, like what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be going. This is something that's going to give you answers. The like caveat, it seems, here within this is that you have to be open to this, but being in a position where you're like, I have to figure this out myself, makes you like not so open to other things, and that being something that's being brought to light here. So just make sure that if you're in a position where you're looking for answers, that your heart is in a space where you're actually open to what it is that's coming through, even if it can be asking things of you that maybe you feel are scary or uncomfortable, because Five of Swords is that I have to look out for myself and I'm weary of other things, so taking a risk just feels maybe like too much when I'm in this state of mind. But having Knight of Swords and the Fool is like, you actually have to be okay with stepping out of that. And so it can be very, very uncomfortable what's being asked of you. But this is the thing that's going to move you forward. Like, you have to change this framework and be more flexible here within your thinking. And this is definitely an answer that I'm seeing for you. But it can be something where the part of you that can feel like, if I do something and choose something that I'm purely interested in, the universe isn't going to support me. If I do something just for the sake of, like, that thing is going to feel fulfilling or feel happy to me, like, it's not going to work out for me, because why would something like that work out for me? Things like that don't work out for me. It could be like that type of thing, that type of narrative that you're sort of spinning right now, like that sort of self-talk space that you're in with yourself. And so when you get certain guidance that comes through where it's like, make a decision off of what you're interested in or off of what you actually want to do or something that would feel exciting for you, you're like, oh, well, I can't take that advice because that's not going to be something that would work out for me, you know? It can work out for other people, but not for me. It'll be like that type of thing. So that will be the experience that you have. And then you're like, and now, like, I have no guidance at all, no support at all. And it's like, I'm seeing something right here for you that's coming through that's meant to be helpful, but your state of mind is not receptive to that. And this has to do with, like, your future. It has to do with where you're going. And it has to do with your direction as well. Working with the energies, yeah, this is like a door that you're being informed is open and ready for you to walk through, but you're gonna have to take a chance on this. You're gonna have to take a risk here. Having the Fool and having Ace of Wands, it's like you're here and the door is over here and there's a little thing that you need to jump over, which is going to be like your thoughts and your fears and all of that. Your guides know that you can make the jump, so that's why they're coming through and giving you that advice. But you're like, oh, no, I can't do that. And it's like, it would actually very much work for you. Like, this is what you want, but you're going to have to have that trust there. And this actually comes back to self-trust in a deeper way, and self-trust in a way that's beyond just your ego. And your ego is not a bad thing. Your ego, as far as like what I'm referencing here, your ego is something that's going to have you feeling like you need to make this safe bet because it's just you looking out for yourself, and that the universe is not going to support what you're doing. and that you Five of Swords can be, I need a more like logical or practical advice here or guidance, when this is something where like the miraculous is involved and you really will have to take a leap of faith in order for this opportunity for you to be on a vibration where this is available to you, and like in a state of mind where this is available to you. It is available to you. You just have to be in the right state of mind to be receptive to that. It looks like there's also some emotional stuff that you're working through currently. I'm seeing this seeking of availability for you, of potential for you, and at the same time, it may be a bit clouded by what hasn't worked out or what hasn't gone the way that you thought it would go. And that can be something that, why there are doubts involved in this. So when it comes to what it is that you're integrating and what you will be moving forward from, it feels very much like it's connected with maybe something that didn't work out or hadn't worked out, but because it wasn't meant to be, because you're meant to be going elsewhere with your energy, okay, your future, where you're going, an opportunity. There may have been an opportunity somewhat recently, or at least it's still sticking with you, that didn't work out. And that can be something that you're still feeling stuck on, that's not allowing you to feel super open to what is now available to you. Then it may have been having you moving forward, but moving forward slowly, where I'm seeing almost this divide between, I'm over here doing things and I'm trying to be practical with the moves that I'm making, and there is a part of me that is moving towards the next chapter, and I almost nearly have that in hand. But then there's like an emotional aspect of you that I'm seeing is still very stuck on something that you wanted to work out, but that didn't work out. And there can be a splitting that's happening there. And that can be something that's dividing you mentally now. And maybe that's where this Five of Swords is coming from. The part of you that is like, I'm trying to be practical, but I'm feeling congested. I feel like I don't know what the best moves are for me to be making right now. And why is that? Where is that coming from? It's coming from past stuff that hasn't been integrated, that's now affecting things presently. So what this means is that you could have had an opportunity in front of you that you really wanted to work out. It didn't end up working out. Now you need to move forward with things. And now there are ways for you to move forward, but there's that part of you that still hasn't fully accepted that thing that didn't work out. And so your energy is still over there. And there's that split that's making you feel, that's just having you question things and not allowing you to move forward with stuff. Like Five of Cups is that feeling of, I'm still not over that thing that didn't work out. And now it's confusing things presently for me. Because it can be things like, well, what if this thing doesn't work out for me, you know? Instead of being like totally present and just seeing what's in front of you and just going based off of your instinct and your heart and your interest and your inspiration, there's this emotional turmoil because of something that still hasn't been integrated, that's related to something that did not work out. Meaning, there can be an opportunity in front of you where you have to take a risk or you have to take a chance or a leap of faith. Something didn't work out before, and you're like, well, I can't take a leap of faith because before when I did, it didn't work out last time. And your guides are like, okay, well, we're telling you it's going to work out this time, move in this direction. And you're like, I'm not trusting that because it didn't work out last time. It will be something like that. But then I'm seeing it's confusing because there is that part of you that can be closed off to it because of something that happened in the past. So that thing impacting where you are now. But then there's another part of you that's like really trying to be making practical moves. So that part of you is trying to be progressive. And then there's another part of you that's like closed off towards opportunities. And there's friction that's happening there. There's tension that's happening there mentally. Because there's a part of you that on a practical level that is sort of operating on a different plane than just your solely an emotional plane. That's like, hey, we need to get things done. Hey, we need to move forward. Like, I want to be making progress. I want to be doing things. And that part of you emotionally that's still feeling hurt or still feeling sad or still feeling whatever you're feeling about that thing that hadn't worked out, that's now impacting things presently and not allowing you to move forward. So as much as there's this part of you that's trying to like yank that other part of you forward, this is something that has a very strong emotional foothold that's very focused on the past. And so there's a big mass of your energy that is focused on the past that is not present and that will not allow you to move forward. And so there's that tension of like, here is the energy. There's the part of you that's trying to move forward. And in the practical sense and in a making moves sense, and actually of doing things sense, of investing, where to invest my energy, like where to put that. There's that sense that's trying to move forward, like I need to do something with this, I need to invest my energy somewhere. And then there's that emotional aspect of your energy that's pulling you back into the past. And then because of those two energies having like this equal but opposite force, you just stay stuck in the middle. And that's what's been happening. And it's been keeping you from something that you would actually want to invest in, a path of interest for you and moving forward. And this is also too something that would like you would feel very happy choosing this path forward, as it is a path of inspiration. And to have Hermit here and have Page of Swords, it feels like you spending time figuring this out, like finding the answers, which way are you actually supposed to go, comes back again to follow your heart, follow your inspiration, choose a path of highest excitement and interest. Okay. I see at the end here it feeling like your energy is coming back to you, where there's a recognition of what was going on, essentially moving through this. It's feeling like if at first you don't succeed, try again type of thing here. That feels sort of like the overall sentiment with this. And that if you're not moving, if you're staying stuck within this, you're not going to go anywhere. But it can be a really unconscious thing, which is the purpose for the reading. Because the reading isn't telling you anything that you don't know. The reading is just getting anything out of the way that would be blocking you from what you already know. So it just will further clarify things for you. Ending with Page of Swords and Three of Cups feels like it's reuniting you with a part of yourself that can be curious, that can be problem solving, and that can be open again. Like activating that part of you that can be open and ready to figure things out and ready to be present and learn and sort of like be involved in your process. And there also being that, this is a word that's been coming up a lot. There's a reclamation for you emotionally, feeling-wise, energetically, where you're bringing all of your energy into the present moment so you can work with it and not allowing the past stuff that you have like negative perspectives over to be impacting you in a way that's holding you back presently because of like doubts, because of fear, because of a lack of acceptance, those things. having the Fool be the only major arcana apart from Virgo here with the Hermit. The Fool is Uranus. This is an energy of inspired action, of taking leaps of faith, of being able to reach the heights that you are willing to jump to, and if you're not willing to jump, then you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to stay feeling like this. And I get the feeling too, like you're not trying to be stuck. This feels like just needing to understand what was going on and how that was affecting you. And definitely being in a place of deep analysis within yourself. But this is also mixing the miraculous with the practical as well, because Uranus is an energy where you really will have to take a leap of faith in order to see the heights that you can reach. And that's not always the most practical thing, but you'll find that somehow it ends up working out for you. But not to also only be in that energy and then never be practical again. It's going to be a balance of those things. Of sometimes you can go that extra mile with a leap of faith. So to integrate these processes within you. Because the Virgo energy with the Hermit, it can be very analytical, but it can be practical to the point where it's like, if I can't logically figure that out, it must not work. And we have to also take into consideration that there are things that we don't totally understand the workings of, and sometimes we just need to have a little faith and to trust, even when maybe we've done something before and it hasn't worked out or whatever, and now it just will because it's the right time for that to happen, or it's the right situation for that to happen. And we don't always understand why that is, but there's that like needing to trust in those things. And follow your inspiration. The way too that I'm seeing this energy feels like at one point in time you could have felt like you were in that energy and that you did take a chance, and that it brought you into a place where you became closed off because of being like, I was open before and it put me in a position that I needed to protect myself, or things weren't working out, or like I didn't have the support that I needed, and it like slowly had you close off. And this feels like slowly like coming back into that energy where the armor is off and there is that purity within the movement that you have that is naturally already there. It's just you're like peeling back the layers now that were put on based off of like self-protection and like fear and disappointment and all of those things. It's like I'm taking it off layer by layer in order to move forward now and continue with my process, with my journey. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for continuing to show up. Thank you for connecting. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.